we talking about that separation phase. We're gonna continue with this hero's journey and breaking it down to how it applies to us. Yesterday we talked about the call. Now we're gonna talk about the next phase, separation. So come on, join us. Peace. Alright, so I've been doing my research. Got a little bit more to do, right? So we're gonna talk about separation, right? You know, I constantly have to revisit the whole hero's journey, rites of passage piece, because that's what my elders put up in me, right? So I'm going through research, and I learned something new as far as the call yesterday, and how by resisting the call, if you don't become the hero in your life, you become the villain in somebody else's. Okay, that's a very important point, because the villain and the hero are both needed, right? The villain is the one that, in a sense, stops the flow, right? Because it's kind of hard to explain, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us are like, well, why do you need the villain? You know what I'm saying? We don't need the negative to happen, but a lot of times it's the negative that makes us realize that we need growth, right? Is a person that's fighting to keep us stuck a lot of times, or beings or societies that's fighting to keep us stuck all the time, that make us realize that there's another level that we could go to. All right? So, and not saying that you should be a villain, not saying that you shouldn't take your call, but when you don't take your call, and you constantly refuse your call, and you do things and you start erecting things in your life to keep from taking the call, you become the villain in the next hero's trilogy. Do you understand? right? So now, as the next hero comes and decides to fight against you, or decides to move against you because you didn't take your call, because whoever or the society didn't take the call, right? Well, there's a whole nother piece. The hero don't necessarily belong to the society, right? The hero a lot of times is the outcast. The hero is the one that just don't fit, right? Um, and you know that you are approaching the hero phase if you are doing things that make you different, right? Um, you're doing things where people are, in a sense, questioning your sanity, questioning your commitment, and it's not like questioning because you're not showing the commitment, but questioning because you might be showing too much commitment. Um, uh, you're driven in a certain way that people don't really understand. So you got to understand that once the hero journey starts for some of us, right, and we receive our call, it's sort of like you're thrown out of sync with this world, and that's necessary because in order to really hear the call, right, when you hear the call kind of trips you up and it kind of throws you off so that you really don't fit into this world in the way that you used to. You see things a little bit different, right? So now comes the next step, the separation phase, right? Where you are removed from the world that you know into an unknown world. You're separated from everything that you know. You're moved outside of your comfort zone. Now, what does this do? Right? This prepares you for the next phase, which we'll talk about a little bit tomorrow, maybe. Depends on where I'm at, right? But this moves you, this separation phase is like, it's a preparation for what's about to come, right? You move into a new world, you learn a new language, right? You deal with a different system, right? You come into knowing that you have a special ability, right? Damn, I love these ambrosia smoothies. Damn, this one is a Death Eater with blueberry, mango, peach. Mm. Mm. Ah. Woo! All right, so that separation piece, right? So you moved into this phase, man, and it's terrifying, it's scary, right? And you may start to question your own sanity. Family start questioning your sanity, right? Hell, if you're even around your family, because some separation phases for some of us become so intense where we are totally removed from the environment that we're in, that we were in, right? I've been through many of those, but now in the older years, because this is the piece, right? Hero journey never stops, just like Rice Path, it don't stop. So you go through a phase when you're younger, you go through phases when you're older, right? I can't go nowhere right now. I got my kids. But this don't stop me from pursuing the hero's journey, right? And we got to understand, right? It's not going to happen just like it happens in the myth, right? We got to understand that some of this stuff happens to us metaphorically. Some of this stuff happens to us symbolically, right? So separation it can also be not only you being removed from your present environment. Like for example, a young man going off to basic training, a young man going off, or a young woman going off to college, a young person An older person getting a new job opportunity in a different city, right? Or an older person pursuing a new career, or somebody taking an entrepreneurial venture, right? Um, these are modern separation phases, right? A child going to school every day, and an individual going to work every day, going to a place, a challenge every day, right? Separation, right? But now what we have to be able to make sure that we're doing is that we are getting what we need in the separation phase. And what should we be getting in the separation phase? In the separation phase, we should be learning new information that prepares us for the next phase. During the separation phase, right, we're learning the new language of the world that we're in. We're learning the rules of the world, the new world that we exist in, right? Um, we're getting the tools together so that we can make it through the initiation, because that's what's coming next, right? So right now we are learning everything we need in order to make it through the next phase, which is the initiation. Now, how do we know when initiation starts? Well, we know the initiation is about to start once we really start getting comfortable in the world where we are, where we have been separated into, right? Because we start learning the language. Like those of you that's been with me, when I say Great Ujima, you know what the hell I'm talking about. When I say Ashe, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're getting comfortable with what you have been doing. You done did your the 21-day challenge, right? You boom, you done got the days locked in. Hell, you could do intermittent fasting. Hell, you can fast for 3 days now. As you can see, it cut off on me again. You've been doing your workouts. You're able to jump. You're able to do whatever you need to do now. You're totally comfortable, right? So now, after the 21 days or whatever system you're applying to yourself, or that you have jumped into, whatever world you have jumped into, because this is the piece, right? It's a system. It's a systematic world. You know what I'm saying? The best life is achieved through adherence to a systematic process. Words of our ancestors, right? So now, boom, we understand the system. We know the system. We done pulled everything that we need from the system. We learned everything that we need from the system. We're taking time to do our studies. We're taking time to get our health together, right? Because what's coming next is the battle, the initiation. We are going to have to slay the dragon, right? We're preparing for battle, family. Right? This is what the separation phase is about. It's you preparing to slay the dragon, right? The major dragon within your life, right? And then possibly prepare you to actually slay the dragon that may be oppressing your people. Getting you ready. You know what I'm saying? This is what the separation phase is about. Right? It's not, rescuing the damsel in distress. What is the damsel? What does the damsel represent? You know what I'm saying? One question a lot of people like, for example, you look at some of the ancient myths, the dragons used to, especially in European piece, the dragon for the European is different than the dragon. The dragon for the West Asian was different than the dragon for the East Asian, right? But the question the West Asians never, you never hear them ask is, what the hell do a dragon need with all that gold? What the hell do a dragon need with a damsel, with a woman? You just hold them hostage? No, that's that greed, right? In Western society is that it's the greed we got to conquer. It's the greedy we have to really conquer, right? Because remember, I told you yesterday, when we look at the rules of permaculture, right? Some of the rules of the tribe. I read this last night. When we look at the rules, it's care for the earth, care for the people, fair share, right? The dragon is against this, careful the earth boom. Dragon destroys the earth. The greed destroys the earth. The greed to go out and basically destroy the fucking environment, not caring whether it's gonna be enough for the children. You know what I'm saying? This boom is about not taking care of the earth. Care for the people, don't care about the people. Right? Dragon don't care about the people. If I can't use you no more, I don't need you no more. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Fair share. I'm taking all of it. I want to keep it all. See, when we start talking about going through the hero's journey, we have to battle that mind state. We have to, and not only battle it within ourselves, but then now we got to start addressing it in the world, right? Because what we bring back, the knowledge that we bring back to the world, when we come back, when we are accepted back into the world, when we come back to this reality, and we kind of get back into the rhythm of this reality, right? What we bring back is information that that will help rest of the world, which in a sense will bring life, a new life back to the world. I mean, you can see this in myths, like especially check out Disney movies, man. Like for example, I was watching I can't remember which one it was, but it's about of course the princess. Well, you got this princess. I don't know if she's from Tahiti or whatever, and she has to go and she has to find the heart of an island or something like that, and with a whole when you look at it, she had to return the heart of a divine being, right? And it was a monster that was stopping her from getting to the divine being. But when she got to where the divine being was supposed to be, she discovered that the monster that was trying to stop her was a divine being that she was trying to save. You understand what I'm saying? And once she was able to give the heart back to the divine being, she brought life back to her people. She brought hope back to her people. And she was able to return, right? That's how many of you are right now. You fall out of rhythm and you have to leave, right? People don't understand you. People don't, people can't feel you right now, right? Because you haven't brought back the boon. You haven't brought back the gifts from the other world. You haven't dug deep enough in yourself to bring out the light and bring out the power that's resting you. That's resting. You haven't prepared yourself to battle that demon that's in you, that you have to transform from that demon into that angel that's going to bring the energy to the world, right? Because it's not just about practicing transmutation or practicing alchemy when we're dealing with the ambrosia, right? We got to practice alchemy when it comes to ourselves. There's certain qualities within each of us that we have to be bold enough to face and have to be bold enough to transform, right? I'm working on it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain asshole qualities about myself that I'm constantly having to battle. Constantly. Right? And I know some of y'all got some of these tendencies as well. I know I'm not the only one. Right? I know I'm not the only one that's struggling through habits. I know I'm not the only one that's struggling through struggling possibly in my work. I know I'm not the only one that's falling asleep when I'm reading. I know I'm not the only one that's having problems doing research. I know I'm not the only one that has problems focusing. I know I'm not the only one that has problems working out. I know I'm not the only one having problems getting up early in the morning and doing the things that I say that I'm going to do. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that's either struggling with being too light or struggling with being too heavy. I know I'm not the only one that's struggling with not being able to run and not feeling like work. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not the only one. Right? And this is one of the things that we all share, because most of the people that's tuning into what I'm talking about is tuning into to Nyame journey. You're on your hero's path. So I know a lot of times you be wanting to listen, or you want to not just listen, but you're looking for kindred spirits, right? You're looking for individuals that may have either been through what you've been through or is going through what you're going through. Because it's hard to find understanding in a world where most motherfuckers is refusing the call. They're refusing it. You know what I'm saying? They hear it, right? But, they didn't been resisting it so long, they become the villain within your, and how dare you pursue your dreams? Why you keep doing that? You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna gain, you ain't gonna lose no weight, you ain't gonna, you getting in shape ain't gonna do nothing for nobody. You know how, y'all know what I mean, right? So, I salute you, right? Right now, you may be in your separation phase, right? But what I'm telling you is, family, do not give up, right? Separation phase can be lonely, it can be scary, right? It requires you to do a lot of reflection. It requires you to do a lot of studying. It requires you to do a lot of healthy stuff, right? Get you in shape so that you can face your dragon. Family, if you prepare yourself now, when you face that dragon and you finally get an opportunity to slay that dragon, what you're going to find out is that you had ability not just to slay the dragon, but to transform the dragon into something that could work for you. You're going to have an opportunity to transform the demon into something that will work for you. Right? Because when you really look at the myths, because I want y'all to really think about this, when you really start looking at the myths, one of the things that you start understanding is the hero. The hero receives power over the world in which he has been separated into. Which means that he's able to bring the power from that world into the world, and he becomes the master of the power of that world, and through him it flows into the reality into everybody else's reality. Which means that in a sense, this is why the hero is always, in a lot of cases, the hero becomes either a king or becomes forgotten. Right? It's a paradox there, right? Because sometimes to become the king is to become forgotten anyway, right? Or the queen, right? Because you bring this power into the world. But the one thing about human beings we all know is that once you show that it can be done, once you show and once you prove that what you're working on can be done, just like that, the rest of humanity is able to do it. So now you have to go back in and you have to find something else. You have to bring something else out, or you have to be ready for that next young person to bring whatever they are bringing to the world, so that you can help, or that you can pull on some of that energy as well. All right. So this is Brother Hot Tim. I'm about to get up out of here. Y'all have a great day. All right. I pray that your day will be as beautiful as you are. I gotta get ready for my day. Time for Clee to get up and do his work. All right, peace. Thank you for watching the video. I want you to subscribe. Click the bird right there, the fiery bird. And I also have a special video just for you, right there. And for those that want more information about Nyame Journey, go to our site. It should be right about there. Peace.